Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're tackling one of the greatest modern mysteries of our generation. I'm talking about that incredibly frustrating sensation of feeling completely broke, even when you're doing everything right. Look, if you've been working hard, playing by society's rules, and still wondering where on earth all your money is disappearing to by the end of the month, you are absolutely not alone. We're going to break down the invisible forces that are draining your bank account, and more importantly, we'll show you exactly how to take your wealth back. So picture this. It's a highly visceral yet incredibly common scenario. You're lying awake at 3 a.m., just staring at the ceiling. Your mind is racing through every possible financial disaster. But, what's actually keeping you awake is the quiet, terrifying realization that you haven't bought anything crazy. There were no major emergency purchases, just regular groceries and bills, yet the needle on your net worth hasn't moved in 3 years. You're just treading water. You feel like you're doing everything society asks of you, but somehow you're barely getting by. All right, let's dive into this. Section 1, the illusion of modern wealth. Simply put, the math of the current economy is broken. The very first thing you need to realize is that the math we were all taught growing up is genuinely broken today. Everyday prices have surged so aggressively that totally normal consumption now feels like some kind of high-end luxury. Remember when grabbing fast food meant scrounging up a quick few bucks from your cup holder? Yeah, those days are entirely gone. Now, a quick meal at a drive-thru can easily run you $12 to $20 for a meal handed to you in a greasy paper bag. And it gets even worse when you look at casual dining. Just sitting down for a basic meal with a partner, maybe an appetizer, 2 entrees, and a tip, that will now easily wipe out $100 forever. That's $100 gone, zero return on investment for food you could have easily made at home for a fraction of the cost. And this brings us to what is arguably the most massive wealth destroyers in the standard American budget, the brand new car. The literal second you drive a new car off the lot, it loses roughly 20% of its value instantly. Think about that. You haven't even parked the thing in your driveway yet, and you're already down thousands of dollars. You're paying interest on top of the purchase price for an item that is actively becoming worth less and less every single day. Moving on to Section 2, the status spending trap, buying things to project wealth to strangers. We define this trap as buying items specifically to project an image of wealth to strangers who, honestly, don't actually care about you. It's buying that depreciating brand new car we just talked about, or putting luxury furniture on a high-interest payment plan just to make your living room look Instagram-worthy. This behavior traps people in a permanent state of survival mode, because when you're constantly spending every dime you earn just to keep up appearances, your brain is way too busy reacting to short-term crises to ever focus on building long-term growth. Just consider the sheer absurdity of the luxury markup for a second. You can go out and buy a perfectly good, plain white t-shirt for $10. Or you could buy essentially the exact same t-shirt woven from the exact same cotton, probably made in the very same factory, but with a designer logo slapped on it for $200. That is a $190 markup strictly for a tiny logo. And yet people are going into massive credit card debt for these minimal quality differences simply because they believe it elevates their status. This creates a really stark contrast between looking rich and actually being rich. The wealth pretenders, they're the ones burdened with the designer bags, the shiny new cars, and absolutely zero savings. They are stressed out. Truly wealthy people, on the other hand, don't feel the need to prove anything to anybody. Their wealth is invisible. It's tucked away in their investment accounts, their emergency funds, and most importantly, in their peace of mind, knowing a sudden car repair won't derail their entire life. You can look wealthy or you can be wealthy, but for the average person, you simply cannot do both. Let's look at another huge factor in Section 3, death by 1,000 subscriptions, the invisible drain on your bank account. Personal finance expert Ramit Sethi talks about this invisible drain all the time, and the math here is just brutal. A $10 monthly service seems incredibly insignificant when you click that sign-up button, but when you accumulate a dozen of these, which most of us easily have, that adds up to $1,440 completely disappearing from your bank account every single year. These are silent recurring charges that we just straight up forget to cancel. Sethi points out that these subscriptions love to hide in 5 common places. First up, entertainment. I mean, everyone has Netflix, Hulu, Disney+, HBO, plus music streaming, often paying for completely overlapping services.
Second is fitness. Those gym memberships or fitness apps you swore you would use but abandoned back in February, yet you keep paying for them because canceling feels like admitting defeat. Third, software and cloud storage you upgraded for one specific project and totally forgot about. Fourth, food and shopping, like meal kits you paused but didn't officially cancel, or premium delivery apps. And finally, random digital apps, like that language learning tool you haven't opened in 3 months.
But hey, it's not all doom and gloom. Let's get into Section 4, the rise of de-influencing, a cultural awakening against overconsumption. The really good news here is that there is a massive cultural awakening against this overconsumption currently underway. It's called de-influencing, and it's a social media counter-movement, heavily driven by Gen Z, that actively encourages consumers to avoid unnecessary purchases and embrace mindful consumption. And honestly, this brilliantly illustrates how rejecting the pressure to constantly buy stuff is actually becoming the new cool. It's a direct rejection of the broken financial systems and the endless influencer marketing that tells us we always need the next shiny thing. And the crazy thing? It's actually working. Research studies synthesized from recent 2025 data reveal that de-influencing has already led to up to a 13% drop in impulse buying among Gen Z. That is a massive shift in real-world spending habits, triggered simply by the digital community stepping back and saying, hey, wait a minute, you actually don't need to buy this. The hard data behind this shift is fascinating. Over 60% of respondents in recent surveys say they prefer clothing without large logos, which shows a huge shift toward quiet luxury and minimalism. 62% of Gen Z consumers explicitly trust peer reviews over traditional influencer endorsements because they're seeking real authenticity. And a staggering 76% prioritize sustainability and ethical practices in their purchases. They're looking for true quality and transparency, not just a brand name to flash at strangers on the street. This ties directly into another rapidly growing movement known as Buy It for Life, or BIFL. Instead of falling for planned obsolescence and buying cheap junk that breaks every single year, BIFLers emphasize finding the absolute greatest value and durability. It means accepting a slightly higher upfront cost for true quality craftsmanship, knowing that the performance and the lifetime of that product will vastly outlast its cheaper counterparts. It's all about spending intentionally on things that truly last. So, let's bring it all together in Section 5. Taking back your money. Practical steps to escape survival mode right now. So how do we actually apply all of this? Well, to instantly stop the financial bleeding, you need to conduct a ruthless subscription audit. Here is Ramit Sethi's highly practical step-by-step process. Step 1. Gather your last 3 to 6 months of bank and credit card statements. Just get them all in front of you. Step 2. Create a comprehensive list of every single recurring charge, no matter how small it seems. Step 3. Check the actual settings in your devices. Look at your Apple ID, Google Play, your smart TVs for those sneaky hidden app charges. Step 4. Be brutally honest with yourself and cancel what you haven't used in the last 2 months. And please don't fall for the retention discounts on things you don't even use. Finally, Step 5. Set up a system to track renewals going forward. Put calendar alerts on your phone a week before an annual charge is set to hit. To put this all into perspective, the crucial point is this. Money is a tool that multiplies your options, but only if you actually keep it. Remember that massive wealth destroyer we talked about earlier, the brand new car? Well, if you took the average $700 monthly car payment that people just throw away on a depreciating asset and instead invested it in a basic indexed fund earning an average 8% return, you would have over $600,000 in 30 years. Let that sink in. That luxury car isn't just a monthly payment. It is actively costing you your retirement. Which leaves us with one final perspective-shifting question that I want you to ask yourself the very next time you open your wallet. Are you spending to look rich to strangers? Or are you saving to actually be rich? Remember, real wealth is invisible. It's the ultimate freedom to wake up and decide exactly what you want to do with your day. So go do that subscription audit, ignore those flashy designer logos, and take back control of your financial future. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I will catch you in the next one.